Here goes another heads up video. Alright guys, so I'm talking about this because a couple of people brought it to my attention. I have not found anything about it, but in light of recent events that just happened 2 weeks ago, maybe 3 weeks ago now, where a Chinese couple was caught with a bioweapon of some kind that was a blight that they were looking to set loose on our crops. And if I'm not mistaken, this blight is pretty bad and it can keep I guess replicating itself or keep infecting. I looked into that and I'm like, all right, I can see that being a problem. So with those two being caught, like I said before, there's not just two couples. It wasn't just these two couples that had the blight. There are probably hundreds of couples in the United States with this blight, ready to weaponize it and release it into our food industry, essentially. So now, of course, someone brings it to my attention that Israel, one of their news reportings, talked about the possibility of a bioweapon attack July 4th. Anything is possible, but giving a date doesn't work. Things that happen normally happen spontaneously, not spontaneously, but happen without us knowing about it. And to give a date that this is going to happen, that means people are in on it. Now, what happened on October 7th in Israel, that they knew about it. And I find it interesting, again, that the Israeli government knew about it months prior to it happening. Then they let it happen, and then they wanted us to feel bad for Israel. I'm like, that's weird. You allowed this to happen. Almost like the theory with Pearl Harbor. It's the same thing. They think that Pearl Harbor, the government, or rather Washington, D.C., knew about the Pearl Harbor attack, and then it happened. I mean, there is that, right? So anyway, still, all of that to say, guys, is that if there is a bioweapon attack July 4th, there's not much we can do about it other than you staying away from populated areas. That's it. That's all you can do. And it depends on what this is. We are not going to know what it is. So you're going to walk around with your gas mask. You have to have the proper filter on it to filter out whatever that agent might be. And you're not going to know. We're not going to know for anywhere between a few hours to a couple of days, because they have to test the air and have to do all this other crazy shit and then tell us what it is. So, again, does it really matter? Yes, having your head on a swivel, staying out of certain populated areas, yes, that makes sense. But to warn people and start crying about it and be like, oh my God, Israel said, fuck Israel and their bullshit. Because listen, it doesn't matter. If it happens, it happens. We, preppers, are going to deal with it accordingly. We're not going to flip out. We're not going to start getting scared. It's a good heads up to know that something could happen. Absolutely. It's sort of like the weather. We all look at the weather before we leave the house. It's just about all of us. A lot of the times I just look at the sky and I go, all right, we're good. That's how I look. That's how I look at the weather. And you look at the weather and you go, all right, it's going to rain on this day and that day. You're going to get prepared. That's all these heads up are. It's like a weatherman's warning of rain. I'm just giving you guys a heads up that something could happen. Now, do I think something's going to happen July 4th? Absolutely not. I don't think that at all. But that's not to say that it can't happen 2 weeks before or 2 weeks after, right? And again, to live in this perpetual state of, staying on edge and looking around, and we're not doing that shit either. We're not even going down that road. But my point is that just to give you a heads up. That's all it is. It's like, again, the weatherman giving you a heads up about a storm coming or some rain. That's all it is. Because I don't take this shit that seriously anymore. Because for the last however long I've been doing this shit, everybody's been like, my sources said, and someone said Israel said it. Who gives a fuck? I'm like, they're the pinnacle of all information. They dropped the ball October 7th, so they really don't have a fucking leg to stand on when it comes to information. Outside of that, just be ready for whatever might happen. And listen, man, you could be walking down the street and some shit could pop off. A gas main could fucking explode, turning into one of the largest gas main explosions in the United States. You're going to deal with it accordingly. If you're not, near it, obviously. If you're near it, you're toast. You're not making it out. But if you're a few miles away and you still feel that heat, you know that you got to go in the opposite direction. It's things like that happen spontaneously, you adjust accordingly. That's all we do. So whether we get heads up that something's coming on July 4th or something spontaneous happens, we are just going to be ready as we always are, because that's what preppers do. We prepare for the potential of a disaster or an emergency. That's what preppers are. That's what we do. And that's what we're going to continue to do. We're not going to start flipping out and staying home just because we think something might happen. It doesn't work that way. At least it doesn't work that way for me. Anyway, guys, this is the Angry Prepper. Thank you for watching.